All right, so let's go ahead and get some of these files started. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and first install the exercises that we have for this. To get the exercise zip, go ahead and follow the link below, and we're gonna go ahead and get all of this stuff set up together, okay? All right, so to start off, we're gonna go ahead and go to our folders here. Okay, so if you're on Windows, go ahead and go to your C drive. If you are on Mac, like with me here, go ahead and make sure you go to your user home, okay? In either the C drive or your user home, make sure you have a Liferay folder. You can actually see that I have already included my Liferay folder here, so I've already built it, okay, or created it rather. So go ahead and just click into the Liferay folder once you've created it. And inside our Liferay folder, we're gonna go ahead and create a bundles folder, okay? The bundles folder is just basically a good folder to have for different Liferay installations. If you have multiple installations for testing different things, it's good to have all of them included in the bundles folder. It keeps them distinct from anything else that you have related to Liferay, okay? So inside my bundles folder, I already have my my Tomcat instance here. So this is a Liferay DXP folder. For these videos, we're actually going to be using an early build of Liferay DXP, okay, just to do some tests for this. And so what we'll need to do is we'll need to go ahead and unzip this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and double click my DXP bundle here, and it's going to give me the Liferay app. Okay. Now, if you were on Windows, it's important to note here that you should not be using the default Windows unzipper. Okay. If you use the default Windows unzipper, it's probably going to explode when you try running Liferay, and so that's not going to work. Okay, so I would recommend 7-zip, WinZip, SecureZip, any other, pretty much any other unzipping tool that you could possibly use other than the default Windows. Again, if you're on the superior machine like myself, you don't need to worry about that. Okay, just kidding, just kidding. It's not the superior machine. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and open up our new bundle here, okay? And what we'll see here is we have basically all of the folders for our Liferay instance. What we'll need to do is we will need to go ahead and deploy an activation key for this, okay? Those should be included in your exercises for DXP. For those of you who also want to do testing, you can also do this on CE as well. CE does not require an activation key. So there might be a little bit of a different experience, but it is possible to do that as well, okay? And starting up Liferay is going to be a little bit different between Mac and Windows as well, so I'll go ahead and make sure to cover that. Okay, my activation key is found in my downloads folder. All right, so like I said, what we're gonna need is the activation key here. I have mine in my downloads folder, okay, so I can see it's my activation key.xml. And I'm simply gonna copy this, and I'm gonna just go ahead and paste this right into the deploy folder. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, paste it on in there. You'll see some other files in here as well. These are actually pre-built themes, okay, so you can test those if you'd like as well. We'll go ahead and leave those there. All right, but once we have that set up, we have the deploy folder, we need to go ahead and start Liferay, okay? So like I said, this is gonna be a little bit different between Mac and Windows, so let me go ahead and cover the differences here. Okay, for those of you on Windows, what you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and go to the Tomcat folder here, okay? And then you'll want to go to bin. And what you will find down below, if you scroll down just a little bit here, is a startup.bat file, okay? If you double click this, if you have the Java JDK set up properly, so again, you need that environment variable set, this will start up Liferay for the first time, okay? It'll take a little bit of time to start, but that's all you need to do, startup.bat. And when you're ready to shut down the testing server, when you're ready to leave for the day, or you're ready to go to sleep, or whatever it is you're gonna do, you can go ahead and find the shutdown.bat and just go ahead and double click the shutdown.bat and you should be good to go, okay? For those of us on Mac, it's gonna be a little bit different. So we'll actually need to go ahead and open up our terminal, okay? Which is good. We'll need to be doing that at some point anyway, okay? So go ahead and open up the terminal and navigate to the bin folder. Okay, so I like to cheat a little bit here, and I can just do CD in the terminal and then just drag the folder right on in. Hit enter, okay? And we're going to go ahead and run a command to get Liferay started. So this is going to be /Catalina.sh run. Okay, so it's going to be grabbing the Catalina sh file here and running it from there. Okay. Again, assuming you have the JDK, we're going to go ahead and start up here. And this will take just a few minutes to start. So we're going to go ahead and wait for that to start, and then we'll go ahead and continue on. All right, so after a few minutes, you should have Liferay starting up here. You can see even in my terminal here that we have some of the things deploying, some final processes going on. And what it will do is it will open up a new browser window for us and take us to localhost 8080. Okay, so that will be showing up here shortly. And we will see the setup wizard, and we'll go ahead and basically get our initial information in there so that we can get started with the Liferay instance. Okay, so we're going to give that just a minute. And once we've done that, we'll go ahead and install the exercises together. Okay, so I went ahead and downloaded the exercise files. I'm going to go ahead and just move these here. All right, so you should see my exercise files here. We'll go ahead and basically just unzip those. We're going to also put those in our Liferay folder. And basically the way this structure is going to work is it's going to include all of the hands-on files that we'll need, including some snippets to go ahead and walk through some of our module development together. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this just one more minute to start up, get that browser started, and then we'll go ahead and walk through the final steps here together. All right, so you can see here that we've finally gotten to the startup here. It says server startup in a certain amount of milliseconds. Okay. Like I said, it's going to go ahead and open up a new browser window for us. Okay, just like that. Just like magic, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make this the full screen here, just so it's easier to see everything. And like I said, this is going to take us to the basic configuration, localhost 8080. Okay. Just a side note here, if you have been doing any of our other videos, if you currently have a Liferay instance running, you'll either want to shut down the other Liferay instance in order to get this new one running, or you can go ahead and configure the Liferay instance to go to a different port. Okay. So I'm going to be assuming here, of course, that we just have one instance running here for these particular videos. Okay. All right, and we're going to go ahead and follow along with a set of use cases for what we call the Livingston Hotel and Resorts. Okay, so it's basically a set of use cases for a hotel business that has a number of a number of hotels in a group that are all throughout the world. They have some use cases for the kind of designs they need and the kind of content they will be sharing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and name our Liferay instance here Livingston Hotels and Resorts. So go ahead and where you see portal name, replace Liferay DXP with Livingston Hotels and Resorts. Okay, I can go ahead and auto complete it here because surprise, surprise, I've done this before. Okay. All right, for the first name here, we're going to go ahead and create the admin for Livingston Hotels and Resorts. His name is Josiah Copeland. Okay, so go ahead and change the first name of the admin user to Josiah. Okay, last name will be Copeland. All right, we're going to go ahead and change the email here to josiah.copeland@livingston.com. Okay. All right, and last but not least, we want to go ahead and uncheck the add sample data. If there's one thing you hear in this part of the video, it's please, please, please uncheck the add sample data. Believe me, you do not want to see all of the sample data when we are creating our theme changes. Okay, so once you've done that, go ahead and click on Finish Configuration at the bottom left here. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and see the terms of use. All right. We're going to do what every good person does. We're going to ignore everything in the terms and click I agree. All right, and for the password, let's make it really complicated with test. Okay, really, you can put whatever password you want here. Just make sure you can remember it. Okay, test is really easy to remember. All right, so go ahead and type in whatever password you'd like and go ahead and click save. The next step here is a password reminder query, okay, just in case we forget our complicated test password. All right, the default one is what is your father's middle name? Okay, my father's middle name also happens to be Test, so I'll go ahead and write that in and click Save. And this should bring us right to the front page of our default Livingston Hotels and Resorts site. Okay. All right, now we're going to be working primarily on the just default site here. We'll look at some other things that we can do within the site later, again, as we build templates and different things like that. Okay. Just as a quick overview of the platform here, all right, we have the menu at the top left, okay, and we have this panel here. You'll see Livingston Hotels and Resorts in the panel, okay. This is where we're going to live for this particular section. We're going to be working in this build section where we see pages, page fragments, and templates, okay. And for our content templates, we'll go ahead and work in the content section as well, but we'll come back to that later, all right. In this build section, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to set the theme module that we deploy on all of our pages, and we'll also be able to access our page fragments as well as application display templates, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and from here, install the exercise files that we will be using to build our tools together, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this for now, just for simplicity's sake. All right, like I said, I downloaded the exercise zip file here, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. All right, and I'm going to head back to my Liferay folder. So again, if you're on Windows, that should be C Liferay. If you are on Mac, this will be in the user home folder. Okay, so I'm going to create, or just go ahead and go to a new tab here. All right, I'll leave bin alone. I'm going to go to user home, Liferay. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste my exercises zip into the Liferay folder. Okay. So from here, go ahead and double click on the folder to unzip it. Okay. Or again, if you're using 7-zip or WinZip or something on your Windows machines, make sure to use those tools to unzip that here as well. Okay. And if you'd like to take a look here, go ahead and open up the exercises folder where you will see 6 sections here. So there are going to be 6 overall chapters as we go through the front-end development course. All right, and this is where you will find the different files that we need and snippets that we need to continue on. Okay. All right, now in this folder is an installation file for Node.js. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and go into the LRU REL front-end developer exercises folder, okay, and then go into the first section here called 01 front-end development in Liferay. Okay, go in there. All right, and then go ahead and walk through the installation steps for Node.js. So you'll see we have Linux, we have OS X, and we have Windows files here. Go ahead and walk through those steps, okay? For me, I've already installed this. If you've already installed it, then you should be good to go as well. But for those of you who have not, go ahead and make sure to walk through those particular exercise steps. Now, to verify that we have Node.js included, we can go ahead and open up either our command line or terminal. Okay. We can go ahead and I just created a new tab. So if you want to open a new window, create a new tab if you're using terminal, feel free to just have something distinct from the either command line or terminal window that is running Liferay. Okay. And you can go ahead and verify the installation with node-v. Okay. And you should see a version, should be 8.x. Okay, so in my case, I have 8.9.4. Okay. Depending on when you are viewing these videos, you may have a different version. That's okay. Okay, just make sure it is version 8. If it is another version, whether that be 7, whether that be 9, you may have a little bit of a different experience, but it should work nonetheless. All right, and then you can also check the npm version here by running npm-version. All right, you'll see I have version 6. Again, you should have something similar as well. Okay, so make sure you can see those. If you cannot see those, then go ahead and run the installer found in your exercises in that first section. Okay. All right, so from there, we need to go ahead and make sure that we have Yeoman and Gulp as well. Okay, so we can go ahead and, again, I've already done this, but you can do this as well. You can go ahead and type in npm install -g yo gulp. Now, like I said, I already have this, but to show you that you can continue to do this and it will check for the latest version if I run it again, I can go ahead and do that here. Okay. Now, as a quick note, as we'll actually see on my computer, you will need admin access to be able to run this command. So on Windows, you can open up an admin command line. On Linux or OS X, you may need to run sudo in front of the command. Okay, and that's going to be it's going to require our admin password to run the command. And this is because it is a global command. We're installing these dependencies in the global directory. Okay. So go ahead and run this command. You'll see it's requiring my password. Okay. I know some of you may be curious about my password, but I'm not going to tell you that. Okay. And then it's going to go ahead and fetch that information and download all of the dependencies. Okay. This should be sort of a no-brainer, but to basically download dependencies or use some of these NPM tools, you will need to have internet access, unrestricted internet access in some cases, so that you can go ahead and just freely download all the dependencies that we need. All right, so we have our Yeoman and Gulp dependencies here. Now we need to actually go ahead and install the Liferay theme generator. Okay. So this is going to be similar to run this command. It's going to be in the global directory, so you may need to use sudo as well. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and run that here. And the command for this is npm install, of course, -g for that global. And then this is going to be called generator-liferay-theme. Okay. All right, we can go ahead and hit enter here. This is going to go ahead and download our theme generator for us. All right, so you should see something like that. Okay. You may see some version updates here. Again, feel free to update those versions if you'd like. It should be good as long as we're in the same major version. All right, but now we have our theme generator. We have our Gulp and Yeoman dependencies. Okay. We want to go ahead and make sure that we have some snippets to build some of our tools throughout the course, or build some of our modules, some of our templates, different things like that. Okay. So to do this, you can go ahead and use our Visual Studio Code here. Okay, so you can see here I'm still in the first section of my exercises. All right, and we have installers for Linux, OS X, and Windows. All right, so go ahead and unzip that, go through the installer. All right, I already have it installed, as you can see here. Okay, so feel free to do that. I'm going to go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. Okay. All right, some of you guys already may be using Visual Studio Code. It's a great text editor for front-end development. So this is what we're going to be using throughout the course. Okay. Again, you can use any text editor, any IDE that you guys are most comfortable with. But for the purposes of our snippets here, we're going to go ahead and use the Visual Studio Code. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this welcome window here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen as well. That way I can just swap between the browser and Visual Studio Code. Okay. All right, so we need to go ahead and set up the snippets in here, and we can take advantage of those snippets as we build some of our projects together coming up here soon. Okay, so for those of you on Windows, you can go ahead and go to File, Preferences, and User Snippets. Okay. For those of us on Mac, we can go ahead and go to Code, Preferences, and User Snippets here. So go ahead and click on New Global Snippets file here. Okay. And for the name here, go ahead and type LFR-front-end. So it should say LFR frontend.code-snippets. Okay. And then go ahead and click Save. Okay. For me, since I have done this before, I'm going to go ahead and click on Replace, but for you, you should just be able to save the new file. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that. All right, now this will give me a new file where I can add my snippets. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that together. I'm going to go ahead and open up my exercises here. Okay, so again, I'm in the top level exercises folder in that first section called 01 front end development in Liferay. And there is an LFR front end snippets.json. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. Okay, go ahead and copy the entire file. Okay, come back to the LFR code snippets file that we just created and replace all of the placeholder text in there with our snippets. Okay. And we can go ahead and click save and then go ahead and close both of those files. Okay. What this will allow us to do as we're creating our modules, as well as some of the templates that we write as well, is we can go ahead and reference some of these snippets very easily in the editor itself. Okay. All right. So this gives us our current setup for the course. Okay, we have Liferay started up here as I had it minimized, and we have our Visual Studio Code with our snippets. Okay. So that's all we need for this first section here. So again, just to recap, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and build our modules together using the tools we just downloaded, as well as that Visual Studio Code text editor. Okay. And we are going to later on in the videos create some of our templates as well. And this will allow us to control both the global look and feel of the platform and our sites, as well as the specific look and feel of our content and our assets in Liferay. So if you'd like to continue on with me, go ahead and check out that next video.